All righty. Welcome to the 8 Minutes of College podcast with Renee Bailey, your holistic college coach. I am so lucky to be sitting here with Miss Vicki over here. I cannot wait to have you guys hear some of the wonderful things she has in terms of advice on financial aid. But I'm going to first let her introduce herself to tell you all exactly what she does. So, Vicki?
Hi, thanks, Renee. My name is Vicki Vollweiler. I'm the founder of College Financial Prep, and College Financial Prep was designed to help parents and students save money on the cost of college.
Wonderful, wonderful. So the first thing I kind of want to ask you about is what, if anything, you can think of off the top of your head is the one thing that kind of surprises or catches people off guard with regard to financial aid and financing their college career?
The one thing that always surprises me is that people don't fill out the financial aid forms, especially FAFSA. Some people don't know to fill it out. Some people think our family earns too much money, so we're not going to fill it out. It's so important. Not every school, but many of the schools require the financial aid forms to be on file to give out merit scholarships. So one reason to fill it out. If a student is going to need to take out student loans, fill it out because then they qualify to get the federal student loan that has the lowest interest rate. Certainly, if you're looking for need-based help, fill out the financial aid forms. And also, what a lot of people don't realize is that by filling out the financial aid forms, even if you don't get anything, I mean, just supposing something horrific happens the next semester, next year, you can ask the school to review your financial aid situation, and then maybe they'll be able to help you reduce your costs in the future. I mean, it's almost like an insurance product in that way. Hopefully nothing bad ever happens to any of us, but just in case, FAFSA can help us.
Yeah, there you go. I totally agree. It's FAFSA. I think, what are we seeing at? About 50% of people are actually filling it out right now, eligible students.
Yeah, it's certainly nowhere near 100%.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because there are certain states that are now requiring to be filled out. In like Louisiana's looking at that, and a couple other states. And in those states, you get up to like 70 or 80% of students filling that out, and they get a whole lot more financial aid than they realized that they could. And they're more likely to stay in college and do what they need to do in college if they've got the financial aid to back them.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. I love that. So what do you do for these students? Tell me a little bit more about that. How do you help them out?
As far as the students go, the work that I do usually is with both parents and students. And one of the things that I do specifically with students is to help them make good decisions in terms of which schools to decide on going to. And what I mean by that, a lot of us, when we're going to college, we all have these great goals, and we may want to go to school A or school B or school C. Oh, but I don't want to go to school, X, Y, or Z. But perhaps from a financial standpoint, those schools may make sense to consider. So I'll work with students in going through the different options and thinking about our future goals and what we hope to accomplish. And maybe, maybe we should reconsider X, Y, and Z to help us meet our own personal goals. So I'm never, ever going to tell a student, a parent, anybody what school they should go to. But I want to help you make informed decisions. That's my role.
Yes, absolutely. Informed decisions. That should be the goal of everybody, right? Because
definitely.
You can't make a good decision if you don't have all the information in front of you. And I feel like a lot of people with financial aid make that mistake.
Right. So I don't want a student to make a decision. Oh, I want to go to that school because it's beautiful and I see the bumper sticker on everybody's car, because that school can cost you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And then you may need to take all of that out in student loans. And then that could possibly impact your future. You may not be able to get the type of car you want, or rent the apartment or purchase the house that you want, or, maybe you need to delay getting married because of it and starting a family. I mean, there were all these implications with taking out, too much in student loans that can impact the student's future and also your parents' future too. So, it's important to consider all of it.
Yes, absolutely. And I think a lot of students don't realize that they could wind up impacting their parents' future, especially through like things like Parent Plus loans and things like that. So
Definitely. So it could impact the parents' retirement, and if they're able to retire. It could get very scary. So it's important to think about it before you commit to a college, which school to go to, and, is it worth the amount of money?
yeah, is the prestige of the school really worth it in some cases?
True. And you also have to consider, let's see, say that there are two students and they both want to become teachers. One can go, say, and I'm just making up this example, one can go to an in-state public university, and, they can both be from the same state. One could go to an in-state public university, and one can go to, a private university, or an out-of-state public university, or wherever, but it costs more. Ultimately, those two teachers are likely to have to take the same state licensing exam. They're likely to go work in this very similar district. They're likely to earn a very similar income. And was the cost difference in college worth it? And you have to think about that. Then there may be another student, and maybe their path is different. Maybe they want to be like a medical researcher or something more specific. Maybe going to the school that costs more, maybe will help them in their future path. And maybe because of it, they'll have different job opportunities or different, graduate school opportunities. And maybe their future salary, will be so much higher because of their education. So it's important to consider all of those things as you're making a decision which school to go to.
Yes, absolutely. So last question here. What is the best piece of advice you think you could give to a college student?
Best piece of advice is to be flexible which college you go to, and to know that whatever school you attend, there are always going to be opportunities to be had. It's up to the students to go and find those opportunities, whether it's working in a lab, whether it's doing a special project with professors. Look for those opportunities to add to your resume. Find the job opportunities on campus. It doesn't have to be a work-study program. It could be a part-time job, and add to your resume. The opportunities abound, but it's up to the students to go and seek them out and find them. And I definitely suggest that all students do that.
Yes, absolutely. I love what you said about finding a job on campus, because so many students, they'll go out and they'll work retail or something like that, and they're really working hard, but it's off campus. It's more difficult to get to and everything.
With on-campus jobs. So you learn time management skills. You're still getting a paycheck every couple of weeks. It's going in your pocket. It's not going to pay your tuition. It's your spending money. Really, and they're more considerate in that if you have exams coming up, everybody knows that. If you have downtime when you're at the job, they'll be okay if you study, if you're studying. It won't be that way if you're working a retail job in the mall or, at a local coffee shop or something.
Yeah, no, that's exactly true. That was my experience too, because I actually worked at the law library at the University of Arizona while I was getting my bachelor's, and it was so lovely because I could sit at the counter and do my calculus homework, and if somebody needed to check things out, I got up and I did it, and it was done.
Definitely.
And I was earning money while I was also learning, so that's a great opportunity. I think things like that should definitely be promoted, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That's fabulous.
All right, Vicki, thank you so much for being part of the podcast. We really appreciate you.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad I was able to be here today.
Thanks again. And that was your 8 Minutes of College for today. Thanks again for listening, and we'll talk to you later.